Hello, hello, everyone. Isabel Tierney here of the Feel Good Life methodology. And I am coming to you from Dallas, Texas this morning. So I am at the office of where my new tech company's team works. Mary Aducci Shizler. Good morning, Angel. You know, I realized that seeing you, first thing, it's like my nervous system starts unwinding immediately, because what I notice is in the last few minutes before the live starts, there's a sense of, anticipation that comes and a little bit of nervousness. And will I do a good job? Will I be clear with what I want to share? All the things that come up. And seeing you, Mary, as the first person that pops up, it's like, oh, there's a friendly face in the house. And my nervous system immediately can relax. So thank you for being here. Good morning, Alex. So good to see you. I always love the enthusiasm you have for these Facebook Lives. You're like, I can't wait. I want to hear this. Let me know how my sound is. It seems like the video is good. I'm in a private office. As I was saying, I'm in Dallas, Texas, and I've been here since Tuesday to meet my team for the first time for the app. We finally are creating an app for the methodology, and it is amazing. It is everything that I have hoped for. So please write hello. Right now, I'm not seeing any words yet. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time for Facebook. Yeah, hi, Alex. I see you. And Mary, yeah, it should warm your heart. Well, it should warm your heart, but I want you to know the impact that you have on me when you come on. Maureen, good to see you. Yeah, guys, this app. Oh, I'm sorry, I keep messing with my hair. This app it's unimaginable the way it's going to deepen and transform this work. And these three guys that are part of the Dallas team just know what to do. They love the methodology, and they're really, really committed to making it be exactly what I want it to be, which is anytime I need help, if I'm in yellow or red, or I don't know exactly where I am, I can pick up the app and I'll be able to recognize what zone I'm in and then to do the 3 steps with the help of the app. It's amazing. Hello, Samantha Tierney, daughter of mine. I love that she's joining me today because she was actually at the house when I had my spiritual crisis. She was visiting, and so I love that you're here. And good, Maureen. It's good to see you. I'm so glad that the sound is good. And good morning, Adrienne. I'm just going to wait, just say hello. How's everybody doing? Because once I start the story, I can imagine that coming in halfway through might be a little discombobulating. So on a 1 to 10, let me know how you are doing this morning. I am this morning. It's interesting because I left Missoula Tuesday. Today I'm doing transition, right? And then I'm doing a transition today where at 2:00 this afternoon, I'm now leaving the app and the working on the methodology and on the business. And then I'm going to a retreat at my friend Varian's in Dallas. And it's just interesting to notice how I do with transitions. And I feel like I do a transition, I get myself all safe and all set up, at the hotel and with the people. And now it's like, oh shit, a whole other transition. I think she might have 50 people or something there. So it's like setting myself up now for another way, another bunch of people, another community, another intention. This is a retreat. So it's interesting to notice when I really, really allow myself to be with myself, and not to cover up with overdoing or rushing. I'm actually quite vulnerable during transitions, and yeah. Sammy, 7 out of 10. Thank you, honey. 10. Saw the kidney donor this AM, and she was amazed. Oh, will you consider doing a Facebook Live, Maureen, on that, please? Or just at least write about it or share about it to me. Maureen has the most incredible story about her being in kidney disease and shifting out of kidney disease, except by 2 points. She says because of the methodology. And I can't wait to hear what the doctor said. Mary is 9.99. I love that. And then Alex is a 6. Mary, not at a 10, only because I have to leave at 11:45 for an appointment. Well, I'm going to do my best to make it 45 minutes. So let's just close our eyes for a minute just to do the transition. So closing our eyes and bringing our attention to our breath and slowing it down, even if it was already slow. And being fully in yourself. It is so easy to get distracted by external things, events, people, demands, requirements, schedules, and to lose ourselves and to lose our awareness of what is actually happening inside. So right now, take another 15, 30 seconds. What's happening inside? Honor that. There's literally like an infinite world that is always happening inside. Like we might know 10% of it. So maybe one of the intentions for this year is to get to know yourself and to get to spend time with yourself, all of you. So it's kind of perfect, opening your eyes. And it's really a beautiful, good morning, Heather. So I'm going to begin with the spiritual crisis. And I might be, well, it feels good for me to share to you that this is actually a very vulnerable life for me, because when I shifted from spiritual crisis to, I called it spiritual liberation, like to a whole new shift in perception, which Marianne Williamson calls a miracle. What I'm going to share with you is really just a narrative. It's a narrative of how I interpret why we are here as human beings. And I'm not here to prove it. And I'm not here to convince you. And I'm not here to do anything but to share my experience and see how it resonates with you. And maybe it'll have an impact on you that will change something for you. But this is probably one of the more vulnerable things that I'm going to share. And so I'm noticing some of that in me. So on December 30th, actually, I was listening to Michael Singer. I had all my kids at home talking about the untethered soul on Sounds True. And he was talking about the ego. And, he calls it the roommate. And he was talking about, can you believe the ego? Like, it just keeps fighting reality. Like, isn't it he was kind of like saying, like, isn't it stupid that reality is happening all the time and that there's this voice inside of us that's constantly fighting reality, and that, basically our suffering would end if only we didn't have this ego that was constantly fighting reality. And there was something about his saying that. And all the years, good morning, Esmeralda, all the years that I have seen myself and I have seen others, right? Like say, yes, there's God deep inside of us, like deep inside of us. But then as human beings, we're born with an ego, and this ego is always wanting to do things its own way and is fighting reality and chooses to do destructive things towards ourselves or others. And what I started realizing is that it's not just the Catholics that talk about that we're born in sin, right? Which is such a shameful thing, that we're born in sin, even though we're children of God. And then we have to spend a lifetime basically fighting, getting rid of the part of us that is sinful through fear and rejection and shaming. And I started realizing that belief that there's something inherently wrong with us actually permeates many spiritual teachings. I wouldn't say if not all, because people who teach non-dualistic teachings don't. But most teachings, whether that's called sin, whether that's called we have an ego, right? That we have to heal or transmute or something, in the pathwork that I study, we call it the lower self. And I was like, how is this possible? Like, I wanted you to ask yourself this and please dialogue with me as I share, so that it doesn't feel like it feels like, this is engaging. You're like, how is it possible that what we say, God, right? And just take God the way you interpret it. We all interpret God differently. That this God is all encompassing, has created everything, right? He's all knowing, all encompassing, all powerful. But yet, in this place of creating us human beings, he created, and I'm going to purposely keep the he, okay? We can exchange he, she. I might try to do that, but just run with me for a moment, all right? I'm not going to be like spiritually correct because it just gets too complicated. But this God, this divine energy that creates worlds, infinite worlds, created these human beings that have pieces of them that are not God. Not only are they not God, they're anti-God. They are bad. And they create all our suffering. And I got really mad about that, because I was not born and I did not consciously choose, you know what? I want to experience the opposite of God. I want to rebel against love. And I'm going to build this thing that goes against us, anti-love. And then I'm going to spend a lifetime trying to get rid of this thing. And I looked at, they call God the still small voice. And I was so mad that day. Like, God, if you are infinite love and peace and joy, why are you the still small voice? Like, why wouldn't you shout it from the rooftops? Why have you set us up so that it is so difficult to hear you? It is so difficult to create heaven on earth. Does anybody resonate with this? Have you asked yourself these questions? Have you noticed that actually it isn't just from religious traditions, but that almost every spiritual philosophy speaks about some aspect of ourselves that needs to be transmuted because it isn't good enough? I am born in almost all spiritual and religious traditions being told that I am not perfect enough. I am not good enough. Yes, shouldn't love be so easy? Yes. Good morning, Stacy. I can relate most of my parents' argument to three things. And the first one is religion, God, which I had to discover on my own, were different. But it's not just religion. That's the part that I got on the 30th. Actually, even spiritual, even the most loving spiritual philosophy. And then what I got really upset about that day, remember, I was having a spiritual crisis, is then we have people like the beautiful Byron Katie or Eckhart Tolle. And what happened to them? They were suffering. And then one day they wake up and they are awake. And they know that the truth of this world is love. They didn't linearly, right? There's no linear way to be connected to God. Like you have to work and 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 work. Yes, Chrisanthi says, these are questions that occur in my mind often. Oh, the video stopped. I hope that it's okay now. And this did not match what my definition of what unconditional love was. Unconditional love isn't, I'm going to love you, but I'm going to most of the time hide that love, make that love so quiet that you are going to have to search for a lifetime for it. Like, would you think I loved you if I did that? And I just was like, this doesn't make sense. And I let myself fully grieve. And for those of us who grew up in households where we were told there was something inherently wrong with us, right? Of course, I made the connection. How interesting the way I am surrounded by teachings about God and who we are. It matches what I grew up with, which is there's something inherently wrong with you and you have to work your ass off, and it's not linear and you don't know when you're going to get there, when you're going to finally feel unconditionally loved and you're finally going to feel that you are truly okay as you are. That you are truly perfect, right? They say we are perfect, but yet that's not what we get taught. We don't get taught we are perfect in any spiritual traditions. There's always something to change. There's something to heal. Heather, I had complete anger at my higher power for most of my life. I trashed spiritualists and God believers. Yeah, because it doesn't really make sense. And it keeps us on this hamster wheel of there's something wrong with me and God is hiding somewhere. And if I just listen to this still small voice, but you know what? And the thing about it, it's also really pleasurable sometimes to act out from our lower selves. It's not like it's unpleasant to have that extra piece of cookie or to sometimes get angry at somebody. It feels good temporarily, right? But it feels good. So why would God give us something that felt good? And then tell us, no, that's not good. No, don't be that. But where did that come from? Ambiguity creates chaos. Yeah, thank you, Millie. And so I just sat with that for about 3 days. And I didn't ask for an answer. I didn't ask for the problem to be solved. I actually felt just in deep curiosity about how could a God that says unconditionally love us and says we are peace, we are love, we are joy. Why would this God create us so that we have to spend a lifetime trying to find that peace, love, and joy? Some Conversations with God talks about God wanting to know what it's not. So I'm going to create anger and separation because God, then some people say God just wants to play, hide and seek. I'm just going to hide. Just going to hide. You're not going to be able to find me. And you're going to spend a lifetime looking for me. I'm like, excuse me, did you ask me for my permission? Did you ask me for my permission to play this game that is so painful? Amy says, I feel and believe that a lot of organized religions and the teachings are more about control of a group of people. How can God be all loving, only love people born in limited geographic areas, and everyone else will burn in eternity? Well, that's right. But that, and that's the obvious one, Amy, right? Like we have, people in the spiritual traditions, it's easy to demonize religion because it's so clearly black and white, right? Especially like baptism. It's only if you're Catholic that you can get baptized. I am talking about that day, realizing that almost all spiritual traditions say that we have an ego, that we have a lower self, that we have all that we prevents us from living heaven on earth, and that we somehow have to spend this lifetime fighting this ego. Because this ego, as Michael Singer was saying with like a chuckle, isn't it an idiot, this ego? Fights reality. Don't we all see that all of our suffering comes from fighting reality? Well, I didn't choose to fight reality. I wasn't born saying, I'm going to fight. The part of me that fights reality, the part of me that we call the ego, I was born with that. So who gave it to me? And why? Yeah, of course we shouldn't fear people into good behavior. Right. And so 3 days later, I woke up. I was brushing my teeth. And I started connecting to this energy. And this is where I feel very vulnerable sharing. And I'm surprised by what came up for me. But every time I sit with it, it fits, it feels good. It has given me relief. It has given me an understanding that's having me show up in my life very differently. So, as always, for those of you who've come in later, take this just as someone's experience. I'm not here to prove anything. This is just my experience, okay? I know you're all grown up and you're all capable of doing that. So I woke up, it was January 3rd, and I felt this voice this energy, and I can only describe it as the ideal parent, as the way I have experienced when I'm in my parenting, in my ideal parenting. I've experienced glimpses of it with my parents, not many, or people who love me. And this energy was so tender and so loving. And I felt like, and again, I'm going to use politically inappropriate or spiritually inappropriate pronouns, so please ignore them if it bothers you. It's not what I want you to get stuck at. I experience myself as the child of that energy, and I'm going to call it God from now on for this live. And what I experienced was that God had created me in this planet to experience everything. God had given me all the colors, not just the pretty colors of peace and love and joy, but all of them. The colors of anger and of jealousy and of fighting reality and of selfishness and of selflessness. All the colors. And God had told me, go off and play. I am here. I am not going anywhere. I am giving you free will for this lifetime for you to go and experiment. And experiment. What is it like when you act out from anger? And experiment. What is it like when you act out from love? And experiment. What is it like when you overeat and don't pay attention to your body? And experiment. What is it like when you take a hike to take care of your body? And there is no judgment because God gave us all of it. And I realized, and this took a little while, but it's coming for me to share here, that for the first time in my life, I got to experience secure attachment. I don't know how many of you know attachment theory. It's funny, I got a master's at Tufts in 90 and 91 when I was pregnant with Sammy on attachment theory. And at that point, nobody really knew about it. Now it's pretty much everywhere. And they do studies of the parent, of the securely attached child. And the parent is there, and the child trusts the parent so much that the child feels safe to go off and explore, to go off and play, and checks from time to time. Is the parent still there? Yeah, is the parent still there, loving, just waiting? And the parent trusts the child, watches over the child, will tell the child, right? Like, hey, sweetheart, be careful. There's a stair here. But the child feels secure enough that she can always come back to the parent, and the parent will always be there unconditionally loving him or her. I experienced the opposite of that growing up. So I experienced insecure attachment. And I developed two ways of dealing with this insecure attachment. Either intense fear, and I didn't want to do anything new because I never knew if the parent was going to leave, or intense rebellion. Like, I don't care what you tell me. I'm going to do what I want to do when I want to do it. And F you. And I realized that this is the way we have set ourselves up with God, in this insecure attachment where we're supposed to behave a certain way so that we can feel love. And that if we don't behave that certain way, right, there are consequences, and we have to learn from these consequences, and we have to shame ourselves and judge ourselves, and that's not God. Sammy says, ironic that I have so much insecure attachment in my relationships outside of ours. You are my most secure relationship. Yeah, and that's the thing, right? I love that you bring that up, Sammy. It doesn't mean that we get all our attachment stuff from our parents. It can be from different people, from friends who've wounded us when we were kids, from teachers. But what I got to experience, and I'm still experiencing it, is that God did not say, you are love, but you somehow are also this wrong thing that you have to get rid of or transform or transmute so that you can feel me, so that you can be connected to me. God said, I'm going to give you everything that is possible for you to experience on this planet. This beautiful, cruel, difficult, magical planet. And I trust you, child, enough so that I want you to explore. I want you to explore without judgment. If you do something to hurt yourself or another, explore that. What is the consequence of that? Do it with passionate, unconditional, non-judgmental curiosity. Oh, If I don't immediately shame myself because I've been unkind, and I actually check and I can see what I've done to the other without the shame that usually even doesn't let me see what I've done to the other. Oh, I can notice it doesn't feel good in my heart. Oh, yeah. Next time I want to try something else. But you see the difference? The desire to try something else, the desire to try something different does not come from shame. It does not come from judgment. It comes from the knowing that we have absolute free will and that God trusts me enough to decide on my own decisions, what it is, how I want to conduct my life. Yeah, that's right. It's aiming to teach, it's ego claiming to teach God. Yeah, I see that. I'll check her out, Millie. I've been actually looking like who teaches what I'm talking about. So thank you. I'll check this person out. Like, who tells us that? And I never understood free will until that day. Like, God genuinely has given us free will to try everything out. Do you like the chocolate or the vanilla? Do you like the tall or the short? And what I discovered, right, the ego can be like, oh my God, if you don't shame yourself, if you don't use fear to change yourself, you might choose destructive actions towards yourself or others. I have found the opposite. I feel this freedom. I feel this fearlessness about engaging with life. Like, I've got a ginormous buffet of experiences. And the other piece I got is I can always come home. I can always come home. I can choose to come home many times a day and reconnect to God. And at the worst case scenario, and again, this is my narrative, it may not fit yours. At the worst case scenario, I will come home when I die. That's the worst case scenario, is that I will come home when I die. So then if I've been given, we can call it all these notes, all these colors, all these sensations, and God has freely given them to me. Go play, child. Go play, learn. Then what? How would you live your life differently? Instead of spending a lifetime trying to cut out and reject and change your ego, your darkness, your sin, whatever religion or spiritual philosophy you are following. What if you actually were present to all of it and unconditionally accepted it and came with passionate curiosity about, oh, what's this thought like? Like, right? Like, when we meditate, right? And you have a maybe negative or fear-based, oh no, fear-based thought. Oh, it's a fear-based thought. It's not a loving thought. This thought shouldn't be arising. Who the frick created that thought? I didn't go, you know what? I'm going to manufacture a fear-based thought. I'm going to manufacture a jealous thought. The jealous thought, the fear-based thought, the loving thought. It is always, always, always being created from deep inside of you, from your core self, from your God self. And we've been given the chance on this planet in our lifetimes to have full range of playing with all the colors. Hey, Matthew, it's amazing to me that you've been talking about attachment and how heavy that subject has been on my mind since 2016, and how my attachments have made me not as caring or compassionate or grateful as I could be. Yeah, thank you. And the thing about it now, looking at it from the way I'm teaching this morning, it's like, oh, Matthew, there's a part of me that is insecurely attached or anxiously attached. And when that part of me shows up, can I bring passionate curiosity to how she behaves? And what I've been experiencing is this energy of the parent to the child that this parent loves so deeply that says, sweetheart, I hear that you feel anxious right now, or I hear that you want to withhold your love, or I hear that you are scared, or I hear that you feel resistant, or I hear that you want to eat a tub of ice cream, and I love you. And if you really start practicing this unconditional acceptance with everything that arises in you that you did not choose to create, it was created for you. And you start bringing curiosity, and you start bringing unconditional acceptance, tender acceptance. How do you think you might live your life differently? I'm going to ask you that. Can you write some words, some adjectives, some states of being? If you truly loved all of yourself unconditionally and knew you were given all of you, the shit, the greatness, the crap, all of it, it was gifted to you to play with, to experience. How would you relate to yourself differently? Stacy says, passionate curiosity. I love that. Next level discovery. Hi, Bran. Wow, this completely resonates with me. What I've noticed, Jackie, and then what I've noticed is that I didn't realize that I was unconsciously rebelling against the thought, the belief, the truth that I held, that I should be a certain way, that I shouldn't have an ego, that my lifetime should be spent on just accepting reality, and that I should give shit to the part of me that fights reality. Like, come on, Isabel, why are you fighting reality? Is that so stupid? All of your suffering comes from fighting reality. Like, why are you still doing that? And that I had this subtle aggression against myself. For any time, I wasn't just accepting reality. But that part of me that doesn't accept reality, that showed up. That's reality. And I didn't create that, right? You guys get that? That was given to me. And if that was given to me, then isn't it my responsibility to explore it? Empowering, says Maureen. My God speaks to me. I hear and I am here. Exhilarating. Oh, that's a beautiful. Ooh, I got to chill. I can breathe easier looking through that lens. Wow. Unencumbered. All of it. To play with everything. I didn't realize that I was not loving all of me, hating the ego part. Right? It's so subtle and tricky for those of us who've been doing work for a long time. Spiritual development work. And when I heard, for those of you who didn't come in from the beginning, this got triggered when I heard Michael Singer, whom I love as a teacher, on Sounds True doing a 6-week video course. And he's literally calling the ego, like, well, how idiotic is the ego for fighting reality? Right? And Byron Katie teaches us all our suffering comes from reality. Just accept reality. So then we, like, even in the greatest spiritual teachers, there is an inherent aggression against the parts of us that don't accept reality. And what I realized that I was given, that God has given us, is an infinite creative ability to create multiple realms, right? So here's reality. I'm on Facebook on a live with you. That's reality, right? At least they say that's reality. Now, they could be another reality being triggered concurrently by my thoughts saying, oh my God, I hope they like it. I hope this resonates with them. Am I doing a good job enough being clear with them? Oh, bloop, something else came up. And then another voice could be coming saying, oh, good. Some people are saying they're exhilarated and they feel like this resonates and this gives them freedom. Oh, good. I'm so excited. I'm doing a really good job. This is all being given to us, this infinite capacity to create worlds, even with our thoughts. Some of the darkest worlds we can create with our thoughts. These worlds that are, these hell realms, right? The red zone worlds of nobody loves me. I am all alone. I don't belong here. Who created that? That's a world that God has given us that gets created through our infinitely creative minds. Just that we can create worlds where I can see myself getting the Nobel Peace Prize because of this work, or, billions of people changing, or whatever. We are infinite creators of worlds, of energy worlds. And yet we're told the only world that you should accept and be present to is this one, like this one. Then why would we be given all these ways of creating different worlds? Why? It just felt so cruel. Let me see. Wow, yes, I love the idea of exploring it, but also recognizing it wasn't ours, right? Because it's like this original sin. I didn't realize it until the 30th, but really almost every spiritual traditions in some more subtle or less subtle form really says there's something you are born that's inherently wrong with you that you need to spend a lifetime changing. How do we think that feels? Do we actually think that makes us better human beings, to be driven by this sometimes very strong, some of us very subtle fear? Something wrong with you, something wrong. Ooh, you have an ego. Ooh, you're fighting reality. Ooh, you're not meditating enough. Ooh, fuck. What if that wasn't true? What if God, who creates everything, created all of us and trusted us enough, just like a mother or a father trusts in a secure attachment, the child to be able to explore, and maybe from time to time say, sweetheart, be careful, right? That still small voice. Why a still small voice? Remember I was talking about how freaking pissed I was and I've been pissed many times over my life. Seriously, God? You're like the most potent, most powerful, most loving being there is. But yet you're going to whisper to us? What? Like, that just made no sense to me up until now. It's a still small voice because God wants us to play. God just wants us to try. God does not want to bulldoze over us. God wants us to figure it out all on our own by trying different things. Do I like the steak? No, I prefer the fish. Do I like the red? No, I prefer the green. Visionaries can see the unseen. I love that, says Amy. And the reality as well, the room you're in and the chair you sit on concurrently. There's so much. It's like we're literally infinite creators, inside and out. And I don't believe since the last few days that God has a preference or that God didn't give us that. This is so powerful. I just realized that I'm leaning in close to the screen on the edge of my stool. Thank you. Exactly. Beloved child. That's what I felt, Millie. It was interesting, right? For how far away I went and railed against religion and many spiritual philosophies. I was so stunned to start using words like, I am God's beloved child. I am perfect. And I was like, oh, that is so strange. And I'm going to tell you this again, for those of us who've been raised to get away from religion and many of the terms of religions, I was stunned when I actually felt like father, mother energy, like he, she, God is my father, my mother, and I am the beloved child that God benevolently, tenderly sends off to play and says, go explore all the ways, all the qualities that I have given to you. And you decide. I will always be here for you, God says. You want advice? Come back. You want my opinion? I'm here. But I am not here to tell you what to do. Doing all the things is exhausting and it feels like failure before we even start. Right. And we don't even realize how subtle it can become, this work. How subtly we're fighting against ourselves. Oh, it's already 10:45. Shoot, I gotta go soon. What if showing up exactly as you are in this moment is what is imperially enough? I don't know if that's what you remember. That's a great word. That as you are and what you have the energy for now is always enough. Yes, God is all things. Love this so much. I'm struggling with all the things feeling. I want my cake and eat it too. We are the ones who make it difficult. And so let's love that part too, right, guys? Be careful. Like, this will keep coming up. I kept seeing that all week. Oh, like love the part that has made this convoluted story about who you should be in order to be loving enough or lovable enough. Pay attention. Love. Oh, you think you have to surmount the ego in order to be loved enough by me. How sweet. No, sweetheart. There's nothing you can do to be less loved by me, to be less perfect. Go play. Explore the part of you that says you should be more perfect. If only you didn't have an ego. Go play with that part. You've spent how many years with that? Do it. Or today, go play with the part of you that says, what if I trusted every part of me and loved and explored it? When I think I have to get rid of my ego, wow, like Amy was saying, do I spend a lot of energy? Well, I'm going to meditate. Oh my God, I have an ego coming up. No. What am I going to do? I'm fighting reality. No. Explore that part of you. That is a part of you. Like the day we meet our child. That's exactly how I felt for the first time, Maureen says. These lives always make me feel so much better. I'm so glad. Thank you, Sammy Tierney. How to explain a killer than taking the lives of others. Well, that's the thing, Chris. That is not my job to understand. What I know is when I think about Hitler, for example, is what he did is he changed the world. The world changed because of the absolute destruction that he created. And I believe that partly because of him, up until now, we haven't had another world war. And I believe there were so many changes done in the world because of it. So that soul chose to act out the most destructive. And to see, we all indirectly or directly got to see and feel and experience the consequences of that. And decide, is this the way? Is this who I want to be? And you can only answer that for yourself by exploring. When I'm angry and I'm discharging at my husband or at somebody else, instead of fearing and shaming ourselves, can we say, oof, what happens? Oh, it hurts my heart. Oh, and I hurt someone else's heart. Oh, yeah, actually, when I really sit with myself and I don't shame myself and I don't berate myself, I actually don't like this. And that's the thing. I think at the core, we get to discover that we are souls who actually don't like destruction. But what God wants us to do, at least in this narrative that's come through me, is to discover that on our own, giving us free will. So we get to choose. There's no superimposing authority that is telling us, because I promise you, you're going to find a way to rebel against that. You're going to try to be good and be good and be good and be good and be good. And then you're going to eventually rebel. And then you're going to give yourself so much shit. I want to know that the ripple that is happening here beyond the intended message, witnessing Sammy be present and engaging with you, is teaching me so much as a parent. I love this. My heart feels full. But I love that you track that, Stacy. God gives us the invitation. Come, let us reason. We can wrestle with the things we don't understand. I love the engagement, not shut down, just told what to do. Jackie, I'm just discovering that deserve it all under God love. I'm learning to love me. It feels so good. Again, I feel this so much stronger. Love does cover all. Love cannot not create something. It isn't possible that something is not love. But on this planet, we are here for a short time. We get to play and experience what feels like separation from love. But we're not here for long. We will come back to God. At least that's what I believe. And that's what I mean by the secure attachment. There's no way you can't not be loved. There's no way you won't come back home. Oh, people. Thank you. Family, really, not people. You guys are family. I could go on. I gotta go because I have my last morning with a team from the app. So thank you for being here. Thank you for taking the time to listen. Thank you for letting the time and be impacted. You can be impacted positively. You can be impacted negatively. As I said, I'm not a truth teller. I'm just speaking what's happening through me. You then get to play. Ooh, this came from love, from God. How do I react to that? Does it piss me off? Does it make me more confused? Does it excite me? There's love, all of it. Love, even if you're resistant to me. All of it. All of it. Thank you, guys. Ooh, chills. Well, start to experience secure attachment. And that is literally, I will complete with this. For you guys get this, for the first time in my life, this way of seeing God and me, I get to experience secure attachment. And let me tell you guys, for those of us who've never experienced that before, it feels freaking amazing. Yeah, so much it brings up for you. Thank you. And just let it. Again, like colors. Oh, yellow, red, orange, purple, blue. All of, just explore all the colors. Love you all. See you later. So goodbye.